Thank you for joining us. For Denver 7 News at 5, I'm Jessica Porter.
And I'm Shannon Ogden. Thanks for joining us tonight.
We want to warn you, the body camera footage is alarming.
First Amendment protects the right to film police officers performing their duties, subject to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions, and concluded that, now quoting, a peaceful recording of a traffic stop in a public space that does not interfere with the police officer's performance of their duties is not reasonably subject to limitation, and was exercising his First Amendment rights to film law enforcement.
Okay, you don't need to be here. You don't need to be here, okay? You need to go.
No, I don't. I'm waiting on my son. Right, he's my ride back to Wilson.
Leave. Leave. That's the part. Stay. Hey, stop the car. Get out the car. Get out the car. What are you gonna do? You gonna SD5, give me that radio. Get out the car. Get out the car. Get out the car. Stop it now. Get out the car. Get out the car. Get out the car. Get out the car. Stop it now. Get out now. Get out of the car. Hey, now. What the hell do you think you're doing?
I ain't doing anything.
Okay. Now you're on a traffic stop and you're trying to drive away?
Get out the car. Call state.
Get out the car. Has nothing to do with anything. Okay, they don't have jurisdiction over us. Get out of the car now. No.
I got my truck.
I don't give a put it in the park.
I just did, pal.
Sit down as off. Don't pull away from me.
I'm not.
You're gonna get lit up.
I'm not.
Okay, you're gonna get
You're
lit up.
breaking my arm, man. Hold on, I'm gonna get out.
Get out the car.
I'm complying.
Get out the car.
Can you hold on? Can you guys
Get out.
Hold on.
Now.
I'm in now. I'm not.
You're under arrest.
I'm not.
Get out. Turn around and face the truck. You're under arrest.
Okay, guys.
Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
The deputies order Mr. Espinoza to leave, but when he starts to pull away, they point their tasers at him and start screaming at him to get out of the vehicle, and Mr. Espinoza stops his truck after pulling back over to the side of the road.
We're taking his truck to the shop. We weren't there to bother nobody.
November 29th of last year.
It's not fair.
Nate Espinoza says what was supposed to be a normal day in Trinidad with his dad, Kenneth, escalated very quickly. Nate says he was pulled over by Las Animas County Sheriff's Deputy Mikhail Noel for an alleged traffic violation.
I'm going.
Put your hands.
I'm going peacefully, pal.
Get back. Get back.
Hey, he's recording this case. But that's fine. He can record all he wants. This is case, guys.
You do what you're told, all right? You think it's okay just to roll up on traffic stops?
No,
and not do what you're told? Now you go to jail.
That's all right. I'm a
Turn around and face the truck.
I'm already cuffed, man.
You guys not listening. If you listen, you want to get manhandled. Now let's
Don't
go.
move.
Let's go.
That's great. You need to stay around.
Get in the car. Get in the car. Get in when you. I'm gonna tase you. Get in the car. Get in damn. You have your wallet on you?
Don't do that, man.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna pass search you. Now get out.
I got my wallet.
Get out now. Get out now. This is how it's gonna work. Okay? You're gonna do what you're told to do, and that's it. Stand up. Stand up.
Come on, guys. This is it.
Stop.
Within a matter of minutes, body cam footage shows things escalated when Deputy Henry Trujillo approached Kenneth's truck, parked behind his son on the side of the road.
Hey, you don't need to be here. You don't need
right
to be
behind
here,
you,
okay?
sir.
You need to go.
No, I don't. I'm waiting on my son. He's my ride back to Wilson.
Leave. Leave. That's the part. Stay. Hey, stop the car.
The video shows both deputies pulled out their gun.
I can still see them pointing the gun at my father and just watching time stop. Just feeling everything just leave my body.
Turn around and face the truck.
I'm already cuffed.
A short time later, Kenneth is handcuffed, then put into the back of a police cruiser when... You can see in the video, Kenneth is tased in the face by Deputy Trujillo.
He was tased approximately 35 times, including once in the face. One of the probes went actually into his mouth.
alive. Come on, man. It. Well, quit acting like an idiot. I ain't acting like nothing. I got a taser piece in my lip. You guys shot me right in the face.
Mr. Espinoza reveals that he was tased while the deputies were putting him in the backseat of the patrol vehicle.
Kenneth's attorney says he was tased by both deputies.
And that's what Mikhail Knoll is doing repeatedly when he has that taser in his hand and he's jabbing it over and over and over again.
Kenneth filed this lawsuit over the weekend against Noel and Trujillo, as well as the sheriff's office for the alleged assault. After all that unfolded, the suit says Trujillo went back to the patrol vehicle to get Kenneth's information.
Get out the car.
Kenneth didn't comply, and body cam footage shows Trujillo grab him, still handcuffed, slamming him on the ground, then pat him down and put him back in the cruiser.
It sure felt like discrimination.
The suit alleges police reports made by the officers showed false or minimized statements from that day and goes on to detail Trujillo's criminal history.
I do not believe that he is legally eligible to be post-certified. He has essentially been impersonating a peace officer for the past 21 years.
Trujillo was found guilty of harassment in 1998 and has had multiple restraining orders filed against him. Nate is demanding justice for his dad.
Discipline, man, from the top to the bottom.
Amy Wattis,
Jesus, I thought you guys were good, man.
Denver 7.
Really difficult to watch.
And I also request that the police department start being looked into, too.
The Supreme Court identified factors for determining the constitutional reasonableness of a use of force in the 1989 case of Graham versus Connor, where it held that lower courts should consider the severity of the crime at issue, whether the suspect posed an immediate threat, and whether the suspect was actively resisting or trying to evade arrest by flight. In this situation, at worst, Mr. Espinoza was suspected of refusing to leave a traffic stop he was not interfering with, a relatively minor and non-violent offense. He clearly did not pose a threat once he was in handcuffs and attempting to get in the back of the cruiser.
Get out the car, stop the car. He runs it while I'm holding on to the car. So I had him at gunpoint. Then he puts the car in reverse, backs up, almost hits the car while I'm still holding on to the car. And we tried getting him out of the car, and he had the car in drive, and he accelerated, but it didn't go nowhere.
We tried to get him out, and he was refusing, and then when we tried to put him in, he was refusing. So I tased him, and then I tried to get him out to pat search him and get his wallet because he wouldn't tell me anything. And then that's when you rolled up.
Okay.
I'm going to get him over to the jail.
After Mr. Espinoza's arrest, Lieutenant Trujillo allegedly deactivated his body camera and...
You've been a good friend, and I think that you've done a fantastic job.
Did not reactivate it for the remainder of the encounter. According to Mr. Espinoza's lawsuit, an ambulance arrived on the scene to take Mr. Espinoza to the hospital. But Lieutenant Trujillo chose instead to personally transport Mr. Espinoza to the Las Animas County Jail, where the medical personnel from the ambulance informed Lieutenant Trujillo that Mr. Espinoza must be taken to the hospital before he could be admitted to the jail. Allegedly, Mr. Espinoza then requested that the ambulance transport him to the hospital. But Lieutenant Trujillo denied his request and took Mr. Espinoza himself. On April 29, 2023, Mr. Espinoza filed a federal lawsuit against Lieutenant Trujillo, Deputy Noel, and others, as well as the Las Animas County Board of County Commissioners and the Las Animas County Sheriff's Office for various constitutional violations. Both deputies are currently on administrative leave, and the department stated that the matter has been referred to an outside agency for review. Mr. Espinoza's attorneys have also obtained records showing Lieutenant Trujillo was convicted of criminal charges in 1998, 2006, and 2009. All 4 incidents occurred in Las Animas County and included charges of displaying a weapon, harassment, fighting in public, and disorderly conduct. Mr. Espinoza's lawyers also identified 5 different restraining orders that have been filed against Lieutenant Trujillo, 2 of which allege domestic abuse, and records that show that Lieutenant Trujillo was forced to resign from the Las Animas County Sheriff's Office in 2009, but was later rehired and promoted. Before this encounter, Lieutenant Trujillo and Deputy Noel had previously been the subject of excessive force claims, which the Sheriff's Department settled. Overall, Lieutenant Trujillo and Deputy Noel get an F for demonstrating a hostile, militant, and violent demeanor throughout the encounter, issuing conflicting commands and then reacting aggressively when Mr. Espinoza attempted to comply, and using unnecessary and excessive force by tasing an unarmed and handcuffed citizen. From the moment both officers initiated contact with Mr. Espinoza and his son, their speech and conduct were angry and belligerent, and the force they used against Mr. Espinoza seemed to be a form of retaliation against him for his initial refusal to leave the traffic stop. As we have discussed many times here on ATA, the authority to use force when necessary is a serious responsibility that has been entrusted to law enforcement officials, only to be employed in the most serious situations.
What happened inside the truck?
You guys came in and tased her. She was bent over on the seat. That's all I know.
Okay, she wasn't tased. There was no taser used.
She was zapped. She was zapped. She was zapped.
I don't believe so.
I remember hearing it.
2 people that were there, they had tasers. So no.
I remember hearing it.
Well, maybe she did. I don't know. I wasn't one of the 2 people that was there in the beginning. I got there a minute afterwards. So maybe she was tased.
Here, Lieutenant Trujillo and Deputy Noel flagrantly abused this grant of power and used the tasers that had been given to them as a means of protection to inflict pain on an individual they felt had personally wronged them. In this interaction alone, both officers demonstrated that they do not have the temperament necessary to be effective police officers, and that their presence on a police force constitutes a danger to citizens in the community. And I urge the Las Animas County Sheriff's Office to take appropriate disciplinary action. Mr. Espinoza gets an A for ultimately attempting to comply with the deputy's orders, voicing his dissatisfaction with the officer's outrageous conduct, and taking swift and appropriate legal action after the interaction. Although he has a strong argument that he was within his First Amendment rights to remain and record the interaction, and under no circumstances did Mr. Espinoza's actions in any way justify the deputy's decision to tase him repeatedly while he was attempting to stop his vehicle, or when he was in handcuffs and trying to get in the backseat of the patrol vehicle. I commend Mr. Espinoza for having the courage to take legal action to defend his constitutional rights, and I wish him the best as he pursues his lawsuit against the officers and the department. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you.